Zane Clodfelter with Otters TV, here with a familiar voice at the ballpark, Otters radio analyst Bill McKeon. And Bill, obviously, it's been a long time since
it has been a long time, and it certainly is nice coming back to the big field and seeing you and Preston and the other familiar faces. Yes, I do miss you guys.
Yeah, we actually grabbed a breakfast in early March to talk about the upcoming 2020 season and what happened a couple weeks later. Well, here we are now doing a virtual game together.
Well, that was one of the things we said. What is the prospects of having this season? And we said, well, we'll have to wait and see what the league decides. And unfortunately, they said no play ball this year.
So what have you been doing to fill your summer void, since typically you're here over 50 times over 50 times in a season?
Oh, yeah. Well, actually not doing much. The last 2 days I've been weed eating the driveway to make sure it looks nice. And just a little things like that, emptying the garbage can.
So how
big
much,
deal.
Yeah. What do you miss on just a game-by-game situation that, it comes to 6:35 and you think, hey, this could be an Otters game that I'm missing? What do you miss?
Well, what you just said, here it comes 4 o'clock and we start eating supper or start preparing for supper. And then I'd say, right now I'd be going to the ballpark, and right now I'd probably be eating a hot dog at the ballpark and be talking to Zane and Preston and those familiar faces there, and be up in that press box and be all excited for the new night. And so now there's nothing to look forward to. Now what time is Tucker on?
Now, obviously, you played here for the Evansville Braves back in the 50s. The ballpark has undertaken a lot of renovations since we were last here for a real Otters game in 2019. What are your thoughts on some of the money being reinvested into this ballpark?
Well, I came here in 56 and played here 56, 57. And it was one of the most beautiful ballparks I ever had the opportunity to play in. And here it is, all these years later, and it's still the most beautiful ballpark. And I know the school corporation invested, I think, over $6 million or something like that. The lights, Preston told me about the LED lights, which I don't understand, except that they're brighter. And that I'm looking forward to, watching the games under these new lights. But I'll say one thing, Zane. That field right now looks beautiful. I mean, that grass is it's just like being at the country club.
And one thing I've noticed since we've been doing this interview in the press box, we're actually here in the Bosse Field press box conducting this interview, you feel that air conditioning?
Oh, yes.
Nice.
Oh, yes.
Double thumbs up on that.
Oh,
right?
yeah. I mean, that is one of the benefits of working here at Bosse Field doing those games, yes. Yeah. And it is like 100 degrees out now.
Yeah, it is. So that's why we decided to do this interview inside. And then the Players Lounge, too, has new and improved air conditioning.
Oh, really? Well,
never before had air.
Well, you may be right there, but we used to have big fans in the dressing room years ago when I played here in 56, 57. Bob Coleman was the manager, and of course I owned the ball club. We had these monstrous fans that blew all the time in the locker room, so it was always nice and fresh. Plus, we had fans in the dugout, actually on both sides of the dugout. Mr. Coleman, or Bob Coleman, we had buckets of ice with ammonia in, and that blew the fresh air, whatever you want, and that was refreshing. I remember many times I would take one of the towels and soak it and put it all over my face. And, let's go, next inning, ready to go. So.
And then finally, you had a long time in Major League Baseball as a scout.
Yes.
Just your thoughts as we record this. It's opening day and all that festivities in MLB would have transpired. So your thoughts on MLB baseball at least being back, albeit in a different situation with no fans and additional protocols.
Well, baseball's changed today. This past Sunday I went to church with my son-in-law and my wife, of course, and I had a jacket on, a sports jacket. I always wear a sports jacket. And I said to Jason, it was hot, and I said, Jason, I said, when I was scouting in the majors, we all had required to wear jackets. Now, once we got to the game and sat down, we took the jackets off. But there was a presentation that you were in the big show. And the things changed today. I don't think the ball players, it's money, money, money. It's not the love of the game. We were devoted to the organization, as well as the organization, the general managers and things like that. They knew everyone. And today it's money. And in all honesty, there's not a ball player alive, and that includes Ted Williams and Joe DiMaggio, that's worth $1 million a year.
Right.
You know, so the game has changed. Although the ball players are in better physical shape than they were in our day. They're more trim. We wore wool uniforms today. They got what, rayon or something, light colored, or lightweight, not color. But the game has changed. However, I still love it. And it's still part of my life. All my life I played, coached, played, managed, scouted, and give me the opportunity to be on the radio. So I love baseball.
And we love you.
Well, thank you.
And we're glad you're with us here on our virtual game today. And obviously, it seems like a far away now, but 2021 will be here before we know it, right?
Well, I hope so. You know, I'll be 88 in a couple of weeks. And if I were to come back, if the Otters and Mr. Bosse and you and Preston want me back next year, which I'd love to, I'll be going on 89. That might be a record. I know Vince Scully was still on TV, radio when he was in his close to 90. I'd love to break that record.
Hear that? He's gunning for Vince Scully's record. Vin, he's gunning for you. He's
Yes,
gunning for you.
Vince, I know Vince, Vinny. He was a second baseman for Fordham University.
Okay.
Not that good, but
that's why we had Bill on. All the stories, and Bill, it was great catching up with you. Obviously, the best to you and Lady Elizabeth.
Well, thank you kindly, and it's great to be back with you guys. And even though it's a short time here, it's still great. Thank you for inviting me, and you and Preston and Bill Bosse and everyone else.
He's Bill McKeon. I'm Zane Clodfelter. This has been Otters TV.